welcome back to my Astro Imaging Journey channel. And we're going to finally get started on getting my workflow for LRGB processing established. It's going to be rudimentary at best, but at least we'll get something in the works. So first thing we need to do is our darks. You can see here I've got 2-minute, 5-minute, and 10-minute sub exposures, and all at game 135, taken last month. So first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to stack them into a master dark. I do not have any bias frames, so there should not be any need to do a calibration. So we're just going to go ahead and go into image integration, image integration. We'll set this back to default, and let's start with our first one here. Calibration. We're going to start with the 2-minute subs first. And how many do we have? We've got 36. All right, so we're going to go with no normalization. Weight is going to be, I'm kind of looking at my notes here. Weights will be don't care. Scale estimator will be the same. Generate, yep. Don't subtract, don't evaluate noise. Yep, we'll leave that one. Let's see, let's move on to pixel rejection. Let's see, I think we're going to want to do hover over it. We've got 36 images. So the ESD is what we will go with. We don't need the rejection maps. And do not clip the high range or the low range. Pixel rejection 2. And since ESD is fairly new, let me read through these real quick. And we'll leave those as default for now. And pixel rejection 3. And that should be everything we need. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create this icon. Yeah, it does not like spaces. So we will click OK. We'll just move this up over here. And we'll go ahead and apply global. And we'll be back when this is done. All right. So that completed. Let's stretch it just to see what we got. Got our amp glow, looks like a couple hot pixels. That will work. So let me go ahead and save this. And save. All right, so I'm going to repeat this process, but for the 10 and 5-minute subs, and I will be back when that completes. See you in a few. Okay, now that we've got our master darks created, we come over here, must have closed that. Let's see, go here. Oh, current. So I've got 2 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute darks. Now we need to calibrate our lights. So while I'm in here, believe, yes, I do have them over here. So now if we remember back some episodes ago, I do have, if I go over here to my NAS, you can see I've got the originals are in my NAS directory. However, I do move them over to my local directory simply because the NAS adds some latency to having to download the images as they're processing. So I just go ahead and move them over to my local drive and work on them locally as opposed to trying to use the NAS. If you're strapped for hard drive space and you have a NAS, then by all means, it just will take longer to do some of the processing based on your network speeds. So let's get on with image calibration. We're going to go ahead and reset this to default just to be safe. Target images. Let's get back into that. We'll start with our H alpha. I believe we only have 10 of those. We got 11. Okay. Output directory. Calibrated, new folder, H alpha. Everything else will be default. We do not have a master bias, our master dark. We need to come down here. Those are, let's look at that. Those are 10-minute subs. So we use the 10-minute bias, or excuse me, master dark. Let's see, we do not have a color filter array, and we do not have a master flat. So I'm just going to go ahead and create this process icon now. Drop that right there. Oops. Drop that right there. With the understanding that I'm going to have to update this output directory and potentially the master dark, depending on the lights that I'm calibrating. So we'll go ahead and we'll apply global. And this should not take too long to complete. Really should have moved this out of the way. All right, that is complete. So let's move that out of the way. 11 succeeded. So now we'll just clear this guy out. And now we'll go and do our next one, which will be hydrogen beta. Actually, I think those are 5-minute. So let's go ahead and do our luminance. Go ahead and create our luminance folder. And the dark luminance, actually, I know the luminance is 5 minutes as well. Let me double check that. Yes. So let me clear that out. Let's go to oxygen 3. That should be, yep, that is 6 minutes, or excuse me, 10 minutes. Go ahead and type in O3. And we'll apply global and be back when this is done. All right, that is completed. So now let's move on to S2. Now those are 10 minutes as well. And we'll be back when these are done. All right, that's completed. So now let's go back. We have hydrogen beta and luminance. So let's go ahead and do luminance since I already created that directory before. Change our calibration over to the 5 minutes. And let's run it. This will take a little bit longer. So we've got 37 instead of 10. So we'll be back when it's done. All right, luminance is done. Let's move over to hydrogen beta. Create our directory. And 5 minutes there, we're good. All right. Back when this is done. All right, that is complete. We can go ahead and close this out. And let's take a look at one of these guys. And it looks like we might still have a couple hot pixels in there. So we will look at image calibration, or excuse me, color calibration. Excuse me, not color calibration. Cosmetic calibration. There we, or cosmetic correction. There we go. Why did I write down color calibration? All right, so we're going to add our files. We're just going to start with H alpha since that's what we've got open. Output directory. Create that one. No CFA, no overwrite. Actually, let me go ahead and reset this to default just to make sure. Use master dark. These are 10-minute subs. And looks like it took care of most of them, but we will still let's pull this. Really should have a preview up. Not a preview, well, preview window. We've got a couple around here, so let's do do that guy there. Now let's preview this. See if that one gets removed. The other ones look like they got removed. Yeah, that one's not getting removed, but I'm seeing a couple here as I scroll across. You can see right in here that they get removed. But I don't want to reject too many pixels. So let's go with a value of 10. And we'll keep that. Delete that. Go ahead and close that out. And we will move this over. Let's go ahead and create that new icon. Apply global. And it should be pretty quick. And I'll just rinse and repeat this for our other directories. Keeping in mind the different master dark. And let me pull up a 03. We've got a couple down over here, so let's look at that. Or potentially a couple down over here. If we pop this open, yeah, I'm seeing one right there that gets removed. Nope, we will call that good. All right, I'll just drive on doing the same for the rest of the filters, and we'll be back when all those are complete. See you in a couple. All right, that is done. And when I left you earlier, I think I put the hydrogen alpha, or the O3 in the hydrogen alpha. At least that's what it looked like. After I paused the recording, I noticed that, so I went back and I corrected what I was doing, and as you can see, all of our corrected files are in their appropriate directories. So we will now close this out. And now we're going to get into integrating the images, I believe, according to my notes. So the first thing we're going to need is the Subframe Selector process. And this one's going to take some reading my notes, so bear with me for a minute. All right, we are back. So the first thing we're going to want to do, sorry I had to read my chicken scratch, and I went ahead and I plugged in this formula over here. I had to go and find that. This formula is pulled right off of the Light Vortex Astronomy's website, the tutorials page, and let me pull that up for you. Okay, so you can see up here, Light Vortex. Let's do that again. lightvortexastronomy.com, and it's one of the tutorials for pre-processing and calibrating our images. And as you can see here, he's got the nice formula that's based off of David Alt's tutorial with taking into account SNR weight as opposed to noise. That was working good for my DSLR images, so I'm going to keep using that for this set of subframes. Let's get back to PixInsight. Alright, so first thing we're going to want to do is we want to make sure this is measure up here in the routine. We're going to add files. We're just going to go ahead and go to our cosmetically corrected, and let's do H alpha. Now these two values here first, let's do camera resolution. I know my camera is a 12-bit. And the scale unit we want to make sure is arc seconds. And these two are key here. Now, one of the nice things about some of our CMOS and CCD cameras that write to the FITS file format is they have a nice little header. So we're just going to open up this any one of our images. We're going to go up to File and FITS header. And you can see you got a lot of good information here. So we're just going to scroll down. And the two that we're going to look for is scale. So 0.405. And that goes to 4 decimal places, so 4055. 0.4055. And our gain, so you can see electrons per data unit. That's going to be 1.0483. And if you did not have that, you'd have to search. You could find that on the manufacturer's documentation. There's also a couple of tutorials out there to try and find that for yourself. And for your scale, you could always go back to your imaging software. You should have the scale set in there. I use Sequence Generator Pro. Scale is in there, or you could alternately open up an image and plate solve it, and that would get you the scale as well. But since we are using FITS files as our base file, we retain these nice pieces of information within those headers, so we don't need to go do that extra stuff. So that's pretty neat. I'm just going to go ahead and close those out. Next, we're going to come down here to star detector parameters. We're going to reduce this to a 4, make our noise layers 2, and hot pixel filter 1 should be fine. Everything else we're going to leave default. This will prevent larger stars from being used in the calculation, and also lower level noise. And that should be good, except for, well, we're going to go ahead and set our directory now. We don't have to worry about debayered, so we're going to go to weighted, H alpha. our keyword is going to be SS weight. Let me go ahead and create the process icon. Move this out of my way so I can move this up here. Bring this back. And now we can apply global and we should have a nice little graph here. So let's let this finish and we'll be back when it's done. All right, that is now complete. So let's go ahead and why is our weight set to 0? What did I miss? Let me go back to my notes one moment. All right, so not sure what happened there. All I did was click the little button here and it populated those. So let me clear this out and rerun this. Clearly it's already done, so it's already cached the information. Now it's saying that this is our best image. But our eccentricity is one of the highest and our full width half max is one of the lowest. So let's see that one. Can I open it from here? Yes, I can. So let's send that over to workspace 2. Expand that out. Okay. Let me look at the second best, which would be 545, which would be this guy here. Send that over to workspace 2. Okay. We'll believe those values. So the first thing I'm going to want to do, I should have left that up. We're going to come over here. So 716 was our good one for H alpha. Let's go ahead and send that over to workspace 2. That's going to come in handy later. In the DSLR videos, you noticed I was using Notepad. So instead of using Notepad, I'm just going to pull these over to here, and that way I can bring them back and use that as my point of reference for our best subframe. So let's go back over here. Let's make sure everything else is good. switch this over to output. We are H alpha. So we'll apply to global. And let me get over here. So if we come up here to weighted H alpha, let's just open one up. Look at our fits header, and at the bottom, there's our weighting. Excellent. So now, let's go back to here, and I'm basically going to repeat the process for our next ones, which let's do hydrogen beta. Everything else should remain the same. We will need HB. Again, we need to make sure we are measure. And let's see what that comes up with. Should be pretty quick here. All right, let's see if this worked. It did. Okay, we're good. It's just one of those things. I just want to make sure 0824. Send it to workspace 2. Let's just make sure it looks good. Yep, that one will work. So we'll go ahead and minimize that one. And do the output. We're at H beta. No, I'm going to do this for the rest of my subframes here, and we'll be back when I'm done using this process. All right, we are done. We could go in and look at some of these graphs and look at some of the outliers and remove them, but overall, like this one, maybe a little bit off, but they're all pretty close, so I'm going to leave all the files as they are. As we can see, I've got them all taken care of now. So the next thing up will be to align them and get all that ready. So let's see here, one second. All right, so star alignment process. Let's get this opened up. Star alignment, there we go. This is where our reference image and everything will come into play that we have set over here. So we will bring this over. Let's go ahead and add files. We will want our weighted files. Let's start with H alpha. And which one was our H alpha? That is 215716. We can just open this up right here. So as you can see, I'm just getting my reference here. This is unweighted. I'm not sure if it matters or not. So I just come over here, I find that 215716. I double clicked on it to open it up here. This allows me to use view. And we want the Which one is this? Let's expand this out. This is A. Okay. As you can see, we've got two of them here. It is reading them from the other workspace. We want the A, the underscore A. Not a huge deal. Did not know that before. And everything else we can leave as default for now. I do want to generate the drizzle data. Set my output directory to registered, which alpha. And everything else I'm just going to leave as default right now in case we have any problems. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop that right there. And let's apply global. We'll be back when this is done. Alright, that is completed and 11 succeeded, 0 failed. That's good. So we will do a rinse and repeat on all of our other directories, our other filters. Hydrogen beta was 000824. Open that one up. That one also will be an underscore A. And let's make sure we change our directory. Apply global. And I'm just going to go ahead and rock and roll through the rest of these, and we'll be back when all these are complete. All right, well, and here we are. This is Editing Ryan speaking. Something clearly went wrong with the recording of the desktop, so the file's a bit corrupted. So I'm going to have to redo the rest of this. I've actually completed the processing to a final image. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to redo some of this data and re-record starting at the next process after star alignment. But I'll get that up for you. Apologies for not catching that this didn't quite go so well. So I will see you in the next episode. Apologies, I'm gonna have to break this up into two, but this was getting pretty long anyways. So I want to say thanks everybody for watching. Hope you got something out of it, and I will see you in the next episode. As always, clear skies, and have a good one.
Thanks for watching yet another episode from the Astro Imaging Journey channel. Really appreciate your viewership. In our upper right, we have the latest video that I have posted prior to this one. Down in the lower right, we have what YouTube thinks you will enjoy. Below is a subscription link. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you so choose, ring that bell if you want to get notified of something new, and as always, thank you, clear skies. Remember, dude.